Let's face it, a country that is unstable tends to be laissez-faire and self-negligence. It is a breeding ground for dictatorship, anarchy, exploitation, and criminals. The head of state tends to be antisocial and a serial violator of rules. The society has no standard, and there is no evidence that learning is taking place. There is no consequences in the society for criminals, and there is no social cohesiveness, and there is no sense of patriotism. Now comes the crucial question. Can you have a stable country without rules? Stay tuned. I will be back in a minute. My name is BUNMI POPOOla. Welcome to Mr. B Question Time, where vital questions are asked. Let's get to it. I'm an author, a theater director, and a psychotherapist. There are 6 signs to show that your country cannot be stable without rules. Number 1, if your head of state is corrupt, your country cannot be stable. There is a tendency for the masses to mirror their head of state malpractices after getting so tired tolerating it for so long. There is a saying in some country which the people tend to say, well, if you can't beat them, you join them. That is a recipe for disaster. Number 2, if there is no evidence that learning is taking place, then your country cannot be stable. That in itself is problematic, because if people are not learning, then that's a clear sign that there is no scope for behavioral modification in order to do the right things. As there tend to be no consequences, and there tend to be no reward for those who are doing positive things, then that is very bad. Number 3, if your country is sort of inundated with the people who are not patriotic, then it is a clear sign that people desire, aspiration have been totally, and dreams have been totally shattered. So, your country cannot be stable. Number 4, if there is no regulation for work, your country cannot be stable, because the means of livelihood is not being encouraged. There is no more potential for criminality, because people get desperate for work and there is no means of feeding their family. The government intervention is not there in order to stimulate effort to support people, to have things like minimum wages so that people are not readily exploited. Then your country cannot be stable. Number 5, If there is no regulation in order to foster security, both in terms of the country security and in terms of individual security, your country cannot be stable. Number 6, if there is no scope for individuals to develop themselves to the point that they feel low self-esteem, no sense of purpose, no direction, they're just roaming the street, particularly the youth, then there is more scope for people not to actually leave the country, like what we've been noticing about people going on getting themselves sink in a boat, the Atlantic Ocean. So these are the reality. So there cannot be stability. Check this out. Whilst poverty persists, there is no true freedom. That quote was made in London Trafalgar Square in 2005 by the most world famous political activist and late ex-president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. As for the question of rules, now I pose the question. Can you have peace if there are no rules to empower ordinary men and women in order to access education and resources equitably?